Hey y'all, happy Thursday. I want to take a little turn from what we have in our daily Devo, our Psalm 1 book, and I want to talk about the soil of the tree, this firmly established tree, and what it takes or what it took for this tree to grow and to become established. Because, of course, the tree is us, right? We are the tree. When we are meditating on the word, the blessed one shall be like a tree firmly planted and tended by the streams of water. And so in order for us to be like this tree, our soil has to be good, right? We can't have we can't have a lot of mess going on with our soil. It has to be well adapted, as Mark 4 tells us. So we're going to go talk about the parable of the sower for just a little bit. And actually, it says the parable of the sower, but it's really about the soil in this one. So we're looking at Mark 4 for today and tomorrow. And so the sower sows the word of God. Now you think about this in relation to what we've been talking about throughout Psalm 1, in that we're meditating on the word, everything that we read and studied in Proverbs, where we fix our attention, we don't look to the right or to the left. And then in Joshua, where God said, keep this law in front of your eyes, do not remove it night and day, habitually meditating on it. So what is that for? What is the purpose of meditating on that word, keeping it on the inside of us? It's so that we are good soil and it can produce. The word is given to us to produce something. And in this case, we're talking about the tree, that it would be solid, that we would develop roots, and those things, the word of God in us, would be able to produce in our lives. And so Jesus talked about 4 different types of soil in Mark 4. And the first one, he says that seed were sown along the path. And those seed didn't do very well at all, because of course they just laid there. And it says that immediately the birds came and ate the seed. Jesus tells us in Mark 15 that Satan is the birds, or the birds are Satan. And that the thief comes, we know he's the thief from John 10:10. The thief comes in order to steal. He's after your word. Because if he takes the seed of the word, it will not produce. So those along the path don't receive the word in. It's not valued. It's not covered. It's left laying open for the thief to come in and take. We don't want that to be our soil. We want to take in the word of God when we read it, when we hear it on Sunday mornings or Wednesday nights or in our Bible studies. We don't want to just leave it laying on top. We want to receive it into our hearts. The next type of soil that he talks about are stony ground. Now he says in Mark 4:16, he says, and in the same way, the ones sown among stony ground are those who, when they hear the word, at once receive and accept and welcome it with joy. And they have no real root in themselves. And so they endure for a little while, and then when trouble or persecution arises on account of the word, they immediately are offended, displeased, resentful, and they stumble and fall away. I don't want to be sown. I don't want to be stony ground either. The stones, rocky ground, prevent seed from actually taking root. And it says, when he's talking about it in the parable, in Mark 4:5, he says it fell on ground full of rocks where it didn't have much soil, and it sprang up at once because it had no depth of soil. And then when Jesus is explaining the parable, it says that they have no real root. Talking about the tree. The tree cannot have root in rocky ground. There's nothing to hold it in place. Those roots have got to be in good soil, so they have something to grab onto, something to dig into, just like we do here in our daily devos. But it says they did not have any real root. And when trouble came after the word, They could not stand. They were offended, fell away, and were fruitless. So that's the first two types of soil. We will finish up tomorrow with the last two. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.